Okay. 3, 2, 1. Hello everyone, Michael Mechanical here. I've got a bit of an update that I want to do because it's time to pretty much say I've sourced everything I can at the moment. There's going to be a lot of other stuff that's going to be involved. It's going to be very intermediate what is going to need to be done to source those specific kind of parts that I can't actually source through the means of the internet, which is going to take a bit of physical testing and identifying through physical items, because there's no way to actually identify if it's the right part online, because it's very ambiguous. It says it's the right part for the car, but it also says it's not for the car at the same time. So it's giving me, it's leading me astray, the information I've gathered. So some of these items are going to be retested and rechecked. Specifically the head gasket. That specifically says it's for this car, but then in the end it says it's not for this car. But the pictures that I've looked at look so similar that it's like, yes, this is the part for the car. But the ridiculous thing is that head gasket's $240 something. Let's see, $243 for a pan gasket. I can get one made up cheaper once I have a pattern, but it probably is that the pan probably is better because it's that they've got it on a production line and they have all these little things they do up. I did actually watch a video, I think, or read something, I can't remember what I did, about copperhead gaskets, and apparently they are better at holding pressure, and you do need something like a Holomar to seal up any micro cracks. They recommend using the spray over the tube because you don't need much. You just need a little bit to take up those micro thin surfaces. They also advise against putting any sealants or anything around the fire rings because that will compromise it and make a weak spot in which it will hold the gasket up. And based on a turbo, having a turbo in the car, it adds more pressure that lifts the head. And the same thing happens with a copper gasket, but it's not as bad. You just retorque that head and she's good to go if she does come loose. Whereas with a composite gasket, if it does lift, you got to replace the head gasket. There's no choice. Now mine, I probably should have put a copper head gasket on because it does lift the gasket. However, the good news about how it lifts the gasket is it literally lifts it in the spot where the fire rings are, and then there's steel plates. So I've still got the gaskets in here where it lifts. So it lifts in the middle between the cylinders on my Triton, and that's why a copper gasket would be better. So for this update video, it's specifically about what I've gathered up so far. So since first time I put this up in part 1 of part, I'm getting confused these numbers now. Part 5 of one of two. Based on these 2 videos here, essentially in that part is when I started this. In fact, I can sort of see here that's a very short list. Here it's a longer list. And here there is even more items than before. And I even made a phone call up to Repco to identify if they have an oil filter. But I've also said this one is NA because it literally is, you know, ambiguous. Now, this is the part that's actually in my car. I don't know if I can get the picture off my camera right now, but I do have a picture of what I've gathered on that number there. That number there is what's in the car currently, and it's a max something. I can't even remember what the name of it is, but it converts to the Westfield code of this. Then that converts into another one which isn't actually here. There it is. The Sakura one replaces this. So it literally goes through a weird conversion. It goes from whatever's on the car currently to that, and then that one is replaced. The C5302 replaces the WCO30, whereas they are pretty much identical, which is really weird. Apparently, according to the information I did gather. Unfortunately, the reason I haven't put a link in here is I don't actually have a source for that, whereas the Sakura filter one, I actually do have a source for it, but I don't have a price. So that's the question, if the price is existent or not. But also because I've said here inquiring, it's because I sent him an email to ask him if it's the right one for the car and if there's any specifications. I read 24mm thread is what's on it. But literally, out of all the items, there's 27 of 63 items that can be purchased and resolved. And there was some things that I wanted to work on straight after, during this video, straight after whatever. So the water pump one, we still don't have nothing yet on that, but we're going to come up with a solution. So, and it's called rebuild. So that's what the solution is going to probably be for the water pump, because we can't exactly find a water pump for the thing. So it's all going to come down to the test. I did a video this morning on the part hunt for the water pump for practice. It still needs to be done practice-wise. Manifold gaskets are going to be remanufactured. I'm actually going to copy this. And actually not, I can just say remanufactured to pretty much thermostat housing gasket, exhaust gasket, yes. Is there one here for the housing? Because the housing is going to get remanufactured. The thermostat is going to be a high flow. And there's a reason I'm saying high flow, is because I can get this part here. We've already got one sitting, and then I've got to make a housing to suit it. And what better way to make a housing to suit it if we've already got a housing for it? And that will help us engineer the fitting for it. The problem is, we might have to do a little bit more research before we go and make anything, but we can design something at least. So if it does fit or it doesn't fit, we can change the design slightly. So what we're going to do in a minute is go out to the car, see what we need in order for this housing to work, like fittings and all that weird stuff, or should I say good stuff, and see what we need, because it's not going to be as easy as it sounds. It sounds so cool because we're going to make something, but it's not necessarily going to happen because we don't have the cutters here. We probably can't do it here. I think the reason this is going to be good is because the original owner of the car actually has the resources to make stuff up, like do everything to fix this car. He's got the resources to fix it. I've just got the experience to go and look for stuff and make it work. He kind of wants it back, in the sense that he doesn't want it back, but he said, I'll have it back any day, which was weird. He even said once, nah, I won't have it back. No, he's very confusing what he's saying, because he had it before and I've got it now, so whatever decisions I make with it is up to me. I'm going to take it up with him on what we can and can't do. What have I got to do? So that's right. We got 2 pens right here. I use my shirt all the time for my pens because I don't have pockets in all my shirts. I seriously have so much stuff in my cupboard, but the kind of shirts I really, really like, I'm trying to find a junky one. Maybe not junky. I like these kind of shirts, mostly because they have pockets. And it's always that sort of weird style that actually works. Yeah. Oh, also another thing, guys, just in case you're wondering about, sort of things I like. Well, if I pulled out, and I'm trying to find season 1 of this. If I pulled out this is a very interesting film series. You could probably only easily watch it once, and after that, it would be pretty painful to watch again, kind of, because it was good, but it was really weird. I only got to the 3rd season the second time I went around and watched the films, and then I stopped. I have no idea why, but I remember the later seasons were better. I keep calling it series. Oh my gosh. Bad tongue. It is also a very hot day today, so it makes it very hard to do anything. So I remember just now saying we've got the shed's already locked. I remember saying we have the housing. I don't know if I have the Tata key on me. I just realized that. Oh, I do have it on me. Sweet. So I'm just making sure I get the Tata key out and ready to go, so when we do go out to the Tata, we can lift the hood again, take down some numbers, because there's more than one reason why I'm going to the shed. One is for verniers to try and get some sizes, if I can, figure out what these fittings are and whatnot. So let's see. I'm gonna pick up this. Oh, this is a good mount. I do not have a selfie stick, and from what I heard, people don't really like selfie sticks, but they do look good in films if you know how to use them very well. I'm just looking for the second. This is what I mean. This is what we're going to put in to the Tata. The reason being is because we can't even get a freaking one of these for the Tata, and it's an 80-degree one it needs. The standard ones that go into the Mitsubishis are 82, and this one's a high flow, which is closer to the Tata than the 82. If we raise the temperature of what the Tata is meant to be, it might cook, which is why it's better to lower it. Because I did that to mine. I didn't put the stock standard one in because it's like, I want to keep it cool and flowing. So I got a lower temp one, which is this. These are expensive as anything. These are like 40 bucks each. And since the Tata is expensive pain in the ass, I guess it suits the theme. Oh, yeah. I was going to get the other housing. So we've got two of these. This is what one looks like. There is another one around here. I want to show you what I mean by we can make stuff. Because no one believes it's possible. But my dad, when he makes stuff, he goes overboard with what he does. He's crazy. When he does it, I was hoping it was in this box. I don't think it's in this box. It's too light. No. And when I say too light, I mean it's too heavy, the one he has. So compared to this thing is expensive to buy from somewhere else, and it's cheaper to remake it, actually. So if we had to get someone else to manufacture one of these sort of things, it might be even cheaper than buying one. I'm surprised I can't even see... Oh, never mind. I can see it. Found it. So, this is that other one. And the reason I actually should show you guys this sort of stuff is so you know it is possible to do this. Except for the fact there's no light down the back, not much. So I'm going to switch cameras. I'm going to try to pull this out of the bag. In fact, I might switch back for a second. Because this is going to be kind of cool to show you. This is what we can do. Look at those two housings. One's lighter than the other. This one's meant to design cost effectively, but it costs so much more to buy than this. This thing is literally solid. This literally went from a round piece of material, probably this diameter, the outside diameter or bigger. And the reason we can tell that is because this thing here is just so thick. Even internally, it's thick. Wall-to-wall thickness is just huge. This thing here is hollow, and if you weigh them, this thing probably weighs 3-4 times as much as this one here. This thing feels so light. I'm not even kidding. I could probably lift both of them. Yeah. This one, literally, I can feel it stressing my finger. This one, nothing. Like, I literally feel it here. What about if I did this? I think that's my muscle, not necessarily the weight. This one feels fine. It feels super light. This one here, it feels heavy, and it sort of does the same thing, but it's going to do it. Now, we've already got an 82-degree one here. This is what an 82 looks like. This is what the high flow looks like, and as you can see, it's a little bit different in design up the top. If we go to the backs, there's also a very, very huge difference between the two in the back. Like, it's different, and I'm glad it's different. Even the heights are different. Look at that. This is going to be more compact than this. And this thing here creates so much restriction. You don't need that restriction. We need high flow. We need to keep the engine cool, not heat it up, like excessively hot. We need it to get to temperature and then stay cool. Stay at that temperature. So now we've seen that we can make a housing, we're actually going to do it. This is the housing I'm going to keep for now. I'm going to put this one back where I got it. Oh. Right. Dad's already got one of these. He's actually got another one somewhere. I have no idea where it is. He bought it brand new for $22. A Daco. Daco have these ones for $22. Those ones are 40. I think it fits the theme though. So I'm going to take this. So we need to have something to sample against. Okay, so now I'm going to turn off all the lights. It's so annoying to use the wrong hands. And I'm going to grab the water housing as well on the way out. Water pump housing. I have no idea why I'm grabbing it. It's probably because I can see a brand new one on the bench. And this one had not done much. This only done about 30,000 and it leaked. It probably is self-explanatory when we look on the inside. It's pretty rusty. So it had water. He literally kept changing waters between the two. But between the Pajero and the Triton, the reason I'm going to use this sort of stuff is because it's more common to get for the Pajeros, Tritons, and some other cars. They use the same parts. And then your chest itchy. It's annoying that. So, from earlier, we pulled this out of the bin. And this here is sitting here because it was going to get cleaned and painted and all sorts of things. But literally, they're exactly identical parts. There is a chance we might actually be able to buy a water pump for that Tata out there. But we need to find something with the same bolt pattern. It needs to look exactly the same in height and every way possible. A same, similar match. This shaft looks different to that shaft. I don't know. Look at that. If I do this, this one's hard. This one is super easy. So that's how easy that one spins. This one here, I can't even do it without tilting the thing. That is hard. And this one here is loose as my goose. Yeah, I can't drag that. But we've got our housing. There's how your housing bolts together. Not bad. Not bad at all. Okay, so now we're going to go to the next step. Essentially, we're going to go and do this Tata thing. I'm going to have a hell of a time trying to do a bunch of things. I forgot a tool. Do you know that? I literally forgot a tool. That's okay. I'm going to ignore the fact that I'm missing a tool because it can be roughed out. And that's how I knew I forgot a tool, because I literally looked right there and I realised there's a ruler there and I forgot the verniers. So that's that scenario. It's literally everything around you can pick up and use straight away. Okay, the scorching heat's going to eat us again. Okay, let's see how long we're going to last. I feel so tempted to just get out of the sun now because it's just so scorchy. Oh my god. The roof is like pure white almost to me. So hard to look at. It's mostly just the sky is white. Is that the clouds or is it literally the sky? That looks like this. It just looks so white behind me. Maybe the sun's getting closer to the planet. That's a bad joke. Because it's not funny. That's what my friends always say. It's a bad joke because you're not funny. I think we also have a water leak somewhere. It's all torn up there. That doesn't look good. There must be a leak in the roof. And all that rust up here might make sense of why there's a leak. Lock the door. It's not like we're coming back. Okay, guys. Here we are back at the Tata for another analysis. Not really an analysis, is it? But I'm still going to grab those other parts because I have no idea. Actually, didn't I bring them out already? I was going back. I think I was just trying to run away from the heat. Didn't I throw them in the back of... I threw them in the back of my ute. Oh, wow. Okay, so let's scratch up some paint. Or some steel. Okay, so this is going to be really an interesting scenario. So what I've got to do to identify how I'm going to make the housing is I'm literally going to put this to the side, the ruler. It's going to be one of the last steps is to figure out what the dimensions of this custom idea of a design is going to be. What do we need? I'm going to find out which pen I'm going to use. I'm probably going to use the black one because it was the easiest to get off. And I'm going to look. So here's the housing. Oh my god. It's just, I'm already hitting the side of the hood. That's the housing with the heater stuff over top. I don't think that stuff actually does anything, which is interesting because I can't really tell if that's actually part of it. It's a four bolt assembly. If we're lucky, we can actually just straight fit a new thermostat straight into that housing, whether it's this or that. The problem is, which way does it go in? That's another thing. And we can tell that someone got lazy when they didn't bolt this on from previous ownership. Now, one thing also to note about these cars, if you do the regular filter changes for a diesel, apparently, the pump should last for about 400,000, I believe it was. Or it should last the life of the vehicle at least, which is 1,000,000 kilometers. Because I've read stories about if you regularly service this, it will make it to 1,000,000 kilometers before it needs to be rebuilt. But in my scenarios, I've seen these things leak early. I don't think this is leaking because it doesn't literally look like there's any muck or any gunk built up around it. But you could put just about any other injector pump in. It's just gonna be weird. Like all the fixtures and all that stuff is gonna be really weird. And even if it sits in there perfectly, it'll be weird if it doesn't. But they are all of a similar design. They don't really change much from what I've seen of the old-fashioned stuff. Because they literally have the same bolt. And yeah, I'm not even gonna question it because I don't need a pump. The pump is here. I've got spares, sort of. Let's just get on with what we were gonna do. So we're literally looking at this to see, not this thing, that doesn't matter because we can always make new ones. And now this wind is picking up and blowing stuff that I don't want blown. I literally want to see how many fittings do we need bolted into this housing. So there's 1, 2, 3. Is there any fourths? Oh, is that a 4? Okay. That's going to be weird. This housing has a special plate on the back and it's bolted. Like, that housing is like this. It bolts to something that is the head. So, literally it bolts to the head, then it comes out, and then this side of the thing is over here. This side of the thing is this thing, the spout. How do I point this out to you guys? Okay, so from here, I've got my pen. Where my pen is right now, that is literally the thing that bolts to the head. Then it goes to the housing, which is unseeable from this perspective. And even with the hoses in the way. So I've showed you where that thing is. That thing literally is this thing here. This thing goes in 1, 2, 3. Actually, I think it's more like 5 directions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, it goes in 5 directions. So there's 5 holes in this unit. That's also a temperature, a thermostat, I believe. So if you want a temperature for this, that's where it is. That's the temperature. So there's 6 holes in this housing on that one side. So that's really compact and really interesting. The hard part is going to be actually doing the job. Can we do it? Probably. And by probably, I mean, yes, we could. It's just a lot more work, and does anyone want to do the extra work? I have no clue if anyone will be interested. So, with this 5D pattern, I've now got to go and draw. Actually, it's going to be easier with one hand, isn't it? Okay. So, take the pen, put it in the buck. So, literally, there's the housing flange over here. That literally has probably one hole here and one hole there, and then the massive gallery here. That thing goes into the 5D. This is a 5D connector. Oh my gosh. I'm literally looking at the screen to see. And then there's literally another one right behind it. That's temp. That is a hose. And the way we got to draw this, essentially whatever that looks like, is going to be really interesting. So to do it, you need to go from the front to the back. And this is really... how to do this is really... And it's always gross stuff as well. So literally to get all those dimensions in, I gotta start with this one here, the big one. And I literally gotta go to the next one, which is the little one over here. You could probably move the little one to the side and just drill a hole and put it in, instead of trying to imitate the exact thing that's already there. And then we go up and over. And then this one goes out here. And then there is a one out the butt, which is over there. And then we've literally got, this is the housing face, I believe, with the 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not going to work, is it? No, if we want it to work. So if we want it to work, we literally got to, you know, shift up our game. I'm not doing a very good job at this, am I? And there you go. I think it's like this. It has to be oval shape or else it won't work. It sort of looks like what that thing is. I can iterate on that a bit. Then we got that's the flange face. I'm pretty sure that's what you call them, as a flange face. And it's a 4-bolt assembly. Is there anything... Oh, at least it hit the ground. Is there anything special? The question is there anything special with the next piece? Is it just seriously just a 4-bolt? Yeah, it's just a 4-bolt on this side. It doesn't matter. There's only one hole in it on this side, and that's it. So that's pretty conservative. And then there's like this tube housing like that. Tube. And then literally, it's like a square flange. Got one hole there, one hole here, one hole here, and one hole here. That's literally that piece there that bolts on to that. So now we got some stuff like that. Should we measure it? I mean, it's in the car. It makes it really hard to work on. And if I take off these hoses, then the coolant comes out, and then we have issues. And if I do this, I might want to have that radiator just cleaned. Like maybe the entire cooling system? I don't know. There's all these steps you have to consider when you do this stuff. Like even having the engine serviced properly. Like I should take it to a mechanic up and have someone service this thing properly once this engine's been sort of updated at service. Because normally they put some stuff through here just to clean it out because it has been sitting for so long. And then through here they would put acids and all sorts of crap that would kill the hoses normally. Kill the hoses. I'm actually kind of curious as to why they put this wrap on here. And these numbers, they represent something. It's really an interesting vehicle to look at because of all these weird things that we don't know about. All these things we might be able to do, all these things we might not be able to do. From what I know though, guys, cars that never ever get really many parts available from on the market tend to be the better ones, from what I hear. So essentially, if the car doesn't have much aftermarket support, it means the stock stuff is better. It's too good that aftermarket can't cover it because they are not viable. So it essentially says this vehicle is the best at what it does because it doesn't need aftermarket support. It has the heaviest suspension of all cars that we know of. I have no idea where I brought this stuff out now, but essentially the last piece is essentially this for 4 bolts. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it that for now. There's some more stuff we could do, maybe. But I need to start with where I can actually start working from. I don't know if I need to do the brakes, not really. I know that they're a bit junk, but the car stops and goes and does what it needs to do. So this flange thing, I'm thinking I'm going to stop the video and just remake it with hands. My dad reckons that these 2 cylinders as well might actually be better than I made them look, because he reckons I didn't do what I was meant to do properly. Essentially, what I didn't do was I didn't put them together properly, like the lines and the fittings. But I doubt it, because I literally got 2 at the back were good, 2 at the front were bad. And I can't get a parallel like that easily. Especially since I was checking my work, double checking. And these 2 here, when we were not sure, we done them a couple of times and got the specs the same. So I'm not going to say that we did it wrong. I'm going to say we did it pretty much right, because we vetted our work as we went. We saw there was problems here and these 2. We did them again and again and again till we're happy with the results. We got the results. We know this thing is 27.5% out. It needs to be serviced, and we might get some more life out of it. So anyway, guys, like I said, I'll leave it for this video. I'm going to do some more drawing up, maybe even measuring of stuff, and see where we go from there. I want to know what everyone thinks about this project, and if they think that I should scrap the car, if I should do this project. What do you guys reckon? I just realized something. They have these rubbers up the top for the rocker cover, which literally are seals for the rocker cover. So those things right there are seals. I don't know if they're made out of steel, if there's any rubber in them, but when I had my car done, it literally had 2 seals, and it had the steel thing over a rubber. I don't know if we're going to come across that here, but in the case we do come across something similar and then we can't fix it, I've got one idea that worked on mine, because those rubbers always crack up. And what I do, I get these made out of maybe some alloy or something, and then I put in a silicone between the 2, and when I clamp it together, let it sit for a couple minutes or hours, then I tighten the bolts, and then it should be okay. So that's what we'll do there. Hose wise, we'll figure something out. We don't need to do the hoses yet. We could do them later. Or actually, if we put the coolant in the system, we want to do the hoses there and then, if there's any risk or anything that's going to compromise what's going to happen to the hoses. Mostly just the coolant hoses, nothing more. This is really heavy duty. These hoses, guys, you should feel how hard these hoses are. I have never had a hose this hard in my life. And that bottom hose there, literally, these could be like good for like 200,000 or longer. I have no idea how long these hoses are going to last. They seem still, these ones here seem viable. This one here is not. That's literally, look how soft that is. That is not viable at all compared to this one here. That thing's like a rock, and that thing's like flexy and broken and brittle. So I need opinions, guys. What do we do with the hoses? What do we do about some of this stuff? I need some opinions. I need some ideas on what to do. I'm not sure about everything, but oh, I just realized alternator belt. Is there actually an air compressor belt in here? It looks like it, but what does it drive? Is it just the air compressor? It is the fan belt. So fan belt, air compressor, they both get driven by the same thing. Then there's the alternator belt, which is a V belt, pulley type, light and junk. Yeah, we'll figure it out. So like I said, I'm gonna redraw that off camera as best as I can, maybe get some measurements. We'll see how that goes. But there's a cracked hose right there that needs to be replaced because that's vacuum. And I will leave this at this. So if anyone's got any comments, it's best to do it now before I end the video. So I'm giving you a chance to do that because I know someone's there. And I'm going to end this thing and go finish this drawing up, measurements, stuff. Go inside, have a drink of something in a cool room, out of the weather. Thanks for watching, guys. Till the next video. This is all junk falling off of my head.